All right. Welcome to another LinkedIn Live. And this is one of my favoriteest of all times of any people in the planet. Amanda's one of the most interesting people to talk to, and she has the best accent. So we're going to have a good time. And we're here to talk about the theme of all of these topics is advisory in real life. And Amanda has lots of different angles of exposure to this topic, both doing it and working with accountants and training other folks as well. She has a training company. I'm going to let her tell us a little bit about all of the stuff she does. Here's her slide just to give you, we had to get a bigger slide for you, Amanda, because there were so many things we wanted to talk about. So tell us what you do at Paget.
Yeah. So, first of all, Jeannie, it's so nice to be here with you. You are one of my favorite people. And when you asked me to do this, I was like, I can't imagine a better way to spend an afternoon than chatting with my friend.
Fantastic. Thank you, Amanda. So yeah, this Paget thing, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And how long have you been doing that? You haven't been there that long.
A year and a half, about a year and a
Wow.
half. Yeah.
Time
So,
flies.
Paget is a huge network of accounting and tax practices servicing small businesses. A lot of them look a lot like my own practice. So they're, I'd say it's small business facing and lots of markets across the country. So Paget is this network. And a year and a half ago, I joined to be their chief operating officer, which is maybe the best job I've ever had. It is all the things I love. So I get to do trainings, I get to do technology vetting for our franchisees, process creation. So my department really focuses on everything that's franchisee facing. So it's all the deliverables and the value that we bring to firm owners.
It's fantastic. You don't hear that very often. People really happy doing what they're doing and finding their way. And I know you didn't have to make that jump, so it must have been a great company and a great opportunity for you to give up all the other things that you had going on all the time.
It is.
So
It is a
that's
great company.
fantastic. And so you have your own practice. So how? Tell us about those clients in your practice.
Oh, in my practice, so
Yeah.
my own firm that I've had my own firm since about 2012. Um, they have evolved to be mostly small law firms. I'd say
Oh,
probably 80% of our clients are small law firms.
wow. Cool.
Other professional services firms. I kind of learned the hard way, as many people do when they start their own practices. You kind of
Yeah.
take whatever comes in the door, and then you over time you sort of shake out what you like doing. And I've really liked working with attorneys. Um,
That's
there's
great.
some weird, it's like there's some weird accounting stuff going on. It makes it interesting. They tend to be pretty good clients. So that's what most of my practice is still.
So how do you say it? Niche or niche?
I say niche because I'm from
Because you're
Louisiana.
fancy.
No, because I'm from Louisiana and I'm half
Because
French.
you're fancy Southern. Louisiana.
Well,
Somebody said New Orleans is Southern. I said they're fancy Southern. They do French and English and Creole. That's all fancy. So you say it the French way. Okay. Well, the rest of us say niche, or some of us anyway. So you develop the niche without really intending to, which is, I think, how a lot of people end up having one
yeah, well, I think it's
when
how
they get
people should end
smarter.
up having them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like we keep yelling at folks. You got to
Do
pick,
it. Do it. Do it.
and then before they even know what they like or what they're good at. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, if there's so and how you define a niche or niche is up to you. It can be an aspect of the work you do that you like, or a type of person that you like, or an industry. But I think a lot of people think it has to be a specific kind of business industry that you're focused on. And I disagree. I think there are lots of aspects. Like we have friends, mutual friends, Amanda, that do e-commerce for a focus. That's a fabulous niche and crosses over lots of different industries. But the area that you work in is where the expertise comes into play.
Yeah, like I'll tell you one thing. I would never take a small law firm that wasn't tech savvy, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'd pick a tech savvy other professional service provider over a stale
Somebody
analog
with,
law firm,
yes,
right?
somebody with inventory, because that's hard and clunky and interesting. Yeah, and there are different things about professional services that make it unique and make it great that you can go deep into something. That's what I didn't realize the benefit until I fell into the wine industry, um, and came into a practice that already had this developed. How much better it is when something comes out, like a new law change comes out or a new piece of technology, as you know, and I can go, does this apply to my clients or not? And then I don't have to waste time learning about it.
Yep.
But when you're doing everything, you got to know a lot more or go narrower across a much broader area of information, I think. It's
Yeah,
tough.
and it's stressful. Like I had a lead that popped up actually on LinkedIn for me yesterday, a small law firm, and I was able to hop on with him for 15 minutes today because I'm so comfortable with law
You
firms.
know
I
what's going on.
know
You know
it.
what they're going to ask. You know what their problems are going to be. I know
Right.
it makes a really big
Makes it
difference.
much easier. So I feel lucky. I know that not everybody has that luxury of being
Yeah.
able to focus on something, especially right out the gate if you're new. But
Well, and
when you get there, it's worth it.
to be in a geography like I am, I mean, how many people have
Yeah.
500 clients doing the same thing in a local geography? But now it doesn't matter. We have global geographies. What we need is really to understand what we like and what we enjoy and find ways to do more of that. Okay, elephant. It's the best name ever. Tell us about
Right.
that. What made you do that? Because you were already doing your own practice and doing other stuff. So why did you
I'll
start
tell
your
you,
own
there's a
training?
story. So,
Okay.
so Elephant is a training company for bookkeepers and accountants, mostly focusing on zero training. So I was working in my practice in 2012, 2013, had decided to go all in on zero, which was actually kind of controversial back then because they were brand new to the market, but really got into zero. I was like, I love zero. I love zero. And my best friend from college, Monica, would come sometimes and help me during busier times. And she's also an accountant. And she would look at me and say, like, the zero stuff is really cool. More people should know about it. Like, this is great for small business owners. And she's been my best friend since college. We love to travel together. And so we kind of look at each other one day and you're like, you know how we could write off a bunch of travel if we formed if we formed a company. Now this was the original idea for Elephant. If we formed a company going across the country and training small business owners on how to use zero themselves. So I was like, this is brilliant, right? This is brilliant. We will just go to all the fancy places we want to go to and we'll write it off and we'll train small business owners how to use zero. So I happened to be talking about this to a friend of ours, Clint Bowers, actually. And I was like, I think I'm going to start this business and teaching small businesses how to use zero. And he looks at me, he's got a practice in Dallas. He looks at me and he's like, can you just come teach my staff how to use zero instead? And I was like, well, God, that never even occurred to me to go teach accountants and bookkeepers how to use zero. So
Yeah.
that's how we built it. And we named it Elephant. People ask this. We named it Elephant because the elephant in the room for a lot of small businesses is finance and money, and they don't want to talk about it. And learning a new thing can be an overwhelming project. Learning a new software can be overwhelming, but how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? And so that's kind of been our tagline is like better books one bite at a time.
I
And then
love
we were
it.
both from Louisiana, so we spelled it the French way. And then to
Oh,
be
that
honest,
is the French way.
yeah,
Okay.
we looked at each other and we're like, it doesn't matter what we call it because nobody's going to pay attention. It'll never be successful. It doesn't matter, right? We just need a shell LLC to be able to write off our travel. But it turns out there is a big need for zero training in the US. So that's how Elephant started.
That's fantastic. So is it online now or is it still live or what? How
Yeah,
does
so
that
we
evolve?
right now, because of my role at Paget and being really focused
Yeah.
on that, we've
Yeah.
taken our entire video library and put it on YouTube for free. So if you
Good
go,
grief.
yeah. So if you're interested in learning about zero, there's an Elephant Training YouTube channel, and there are a bunch of videos there. So
That's fantastic.
great.
So making
Yeah.
a big impact. And then accounting salon, you got to tell folks, and I'm a member and I don't know how I got in, but I'm so excited. It's been one of the greatest groups of people I've gotten to hang out with in a long time. So talk about that. Where did
Yeah.
that come from? And that was you and David Leary,
Yeah. So this
another
was
crazy person.
another wild and crazy idea that turned out to be something bigger than anybody could have thought. So I can remember in like the mid teens, 16, 17, 2016, 2017, going to conferences and seeing people on stages, but some of these that I went to, the content wasn't very good because it was all sponsored and it was really a big commercial. But I still love going to the conferences because I would have really good conversations in the back of the room or at the hotel bar or in the hallway with fantastic people. And it was awesome. It was fun. I remember looking around and saying, I was at a hotel bar, looking around at the group around me. And I was like, these are four awesome people that I never would have met if, they weren't at this conference. So I realized the value, for me at least, the value of the conferences mostly was like the off the path stuff, right? So I was like, what if we can just skip the stage stuff.
Okay, so hold on a minute. We can skip the dumb old keynote presenters like Jeannie that we don't care what they say, right?
I
And
was
talk to each
not
other.
you. I will not. I will not say. I had this. Look, I'm gonna tell you. I had this revelation sitting at a conference I won't name, but having somebody tell me about building a modern practice, and their slides weren't even like widescreen format. They were like the old tube format, and they were telling me that I should
How
have a
to
modern practice, and I was like, no. So that, hand to God, that's true. Hand to God, that's true.
No,
But
I
anyway,
believe.
so I was like, well, we should have. This would be fun. Like, what if we could get just really cool people in cloud accounting to get together and just like skip the stage part and just get around in a room and talk about the cool stuff that's happening in our practices. And so I met David Leary and at a conference in New Orleans. He'd come to town. And I was like, hey, David, I got an idea for you. I'd never met him before. I have this crazy idea.
But he
What
was
if
an Intuit at the time, right?
he wasn't into it at the time?
Yeah, he was an Intuit. Yeah.
So that for David, that was like a few jobs ago.
Yeah.
So he was sitting with me and we were having a drink and I was like, I kind of have this idea. I was like, what do you think about this? I know all the Zero people, you know all the QuickBooks people. I mean, I think the Zero people are really smart and cool, but there must be equivalent type people on the QBO side. He's like, absolutely. And so the next year we just like begged 18 of our friends to come to New Orleans and we sat in a conference room and it was awesome. It was so cool. It was so cool because it was like people who contribute to the industry and are really, really smart. Some of the smartest people I know, just being really vulnerable. And I mean, you're in it now, so you know. But it's like just vulnerable and being supportive of each other and being cheerleaders for each other. And so that was 2018 was our first one with 18 folks, and now we have just added 4 new members. So we are at 54 members going into 2023.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's just a very unusual gathering. And for me, I'm at the old end of the spectrum. It's mostly younger people, but it's a great blend of perspectives and it's just really cool because we tend to hang out with our same group all the time everywhere we go. And when you can get a new group together and have new ideas and come back inspired and refreshed and motivated, it's a great thing. And so I'm honored to be part of that. And it's one of the best things that I do during the course of the year.
You're glad. I'm glad that we get to have you in our group. That's how you and I met. I'd never really talked to you before. You came in, and so I'm grateful for that.
Well, it was shocking to me that I looked around and went, "Why am I here with all these cool people?" But what you shared is what you said is really the key. Is that everybody there just shares all the stuff. I mean, like we've had all these people talk about how they screwed up this thing or that thing and what they learned and how they figured it out. And that's real value to me. And that's one of the things I try to do because I have a long list of stuff I've screwed up over the years. So much of what I talk about is things that I've learned because I don't want other people to do the same dumb thing that I did. So just about me, I didn't even introduce myself because I was so excited about introducing Amanda, but I'm Jeannie Whitehouse. I'm a CPA. I'm a CITP. I am certified in strategic performance management, which is a level 5 Mentor Plus certification that I got a long time ago and that I'm now teaching other people to do as well. So I work with wineries, live clients in Napa Valley, which is really fun and exciting and really interesting technology and challenges. And so I feel privileged. And I work for a CPA firm here a couple of days a week. And then I'm a keynote speaker and author. I have a book on how to make boring stuff interesting, 52 ways even a nerd can be heard. And my brand is Even a Nerd for the speaking. And that's really the first brand I created. And like you, Amanda, I put up a website and thought, who cares what I call it? Nobody's ever going to come there anyway. And it doesn't matter. And that gave me a bunch of freedom, though, to write the way I really felt like I write like I talked because I didn't have the pressure to make it perfect or anything. And I really haven't changed it much since then. So there's some freedom in putting stuff up and knowing nobody's going to be there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden people are there. It's like, wow. Okay. Well, now they have already seen the dirt behind the person, so it's too late to change it. And then during COVID, I launched the Impactful Advisor, which is me training other accountants and bookkeepers and numbers people to do what I do to apply these advisory concepts with their own client. And that's really been my passion since I started speaking, was to make the profession better. It's why we are all bonded. I think, Amanda, a bunch of us are speaking not because we want to speak or because we want to make big bucks or be famous, because none of that's happening, but because we want to move the profession forward. It's passionate about us doing better for our clients and us also having more fun as a profession, because I see so many people who are unhappy. They're not in jobs like you are, Amanda, where they're loving it. They're struggling, or
It could
they're
be.
I know they could be. That's one of the reasons we're out here, is it's possible to make it better, to get what you're worth for the work that you deliver, and to really feel like your clients appreciate you. And that to me was the best part. When I was doing tax, nobody gave a darn about whether the excuse me, the return was filed on time or not. But when I went out and worked with small businesses like you did, Amanda, and helped them fix a software problem or helped them print payroll, I mean, I was a huge hero. And that was the stuff that was, I was like, this is fun. I mean, and also being able to see different technology and also learn businesses through their technology. And I know that's the same thing for you with Zero. So how does what is Zero's philosophy around advisory? And Zero started in Australia, right?
New Zealand.
New
Yeah.
Zealand. See, I think they're all, it's like North and South Carolina to people
Right.
in California. We don't know the difference. New Zealand, they all talk funny. So New Zealand, that's funny. I did think it was Australia. And so that part of the world has always been way ahead of us when it comes to innovation and accounting. So
Absolutely.
talk about that. So do the accountants over there have a different mindset when it comes to advisory?
Yeah,
And
well,
doing kind of
I'll
what
tell
you
you,
do?
I know one of the things that drew me to Zero from the out the gate was their intention was always to build a really good general ledger that would tie to other things, allowing you to build an ecosystem to help your clients, which is, that's advisory. So for a long time, Intuit was very tight about opening APIs and charging. And so Zero's always been like, we want data to flow everywhere so that you can help your clients make good business decisions. So they've been supportive of that for forever. I mean, now that there's something like more than 1,000 apps that integrate into Zero, and a good chunk of those are advisory leaning. It's on the side where we're sitting shoulder to shoulder with our clients and sharing financial information and helping them make good decisions.
So how do you define advisory? What does that mean to you?
It depends on who's yelling at you that you should be doing it. How about that?
And I would be one of those people. So tell me, what do you think it is?
I don't think you are, Jeannie. I mean, you're telling people to do it, but you're telling people how to do it. I think
I'm telling them how. That's right.
There's a lot of noise in the industry yelling at accountants.
Do it.
You're a failure if you don't do advisory. And then they're like, what does that mean? They're like, advisory, you have to do advisory. But nobody's saying, well, it means this, or here's how you execute on it. So, I mean, advisory to me is helping your clients make business decisions broadly. But there's a lot of ways that you can productize that. At Paget, we have landed on 3 offerings that we focus on: budgeting, cash flow forecasting, and metric-based goal setting. Those are our 3 at Paget that we help our firms work
towards. Which is a great place to start.
Which is a great place to start, but that doesn't mean there aren't a million other things that are advisory.
Yeah, and if you could just do that for clients, you'd be revolutionary as far as the accounting space goes.
Yeah, I mean, and absolutely, if you actually take
do that well,
financial statements and turn them into information for people to understand. So but advisory can be a lot of different things. I mean, I've done it on the technology side for years without charging for it before I knew it was a thing I could charge for.
Amanda,
I know. But I mean, this is a long time ago. This is before I knew better. Everybody knows better now. Yeah. But looking at software, I mean, how often do your clients come to you and say, I had a client today, I'm going to add employees, I want to offer health benefits and retirement benefits, what platform should I use? Well, that's, I'm helping her make a decision. It's going to take time to make a good decision. So advisory can be a lot of different things, but I think it boils down to offering your clients what they need to make business decisions, even if they can't articulate that.
So the way I define it is, it's helping your clients move the needle forward in the direction of their dreams. And in order for us to do that, first we have to know what the dream is, which we don't know that today for most of our clients. And then secondly, we can't just give them a bunch of metrics and measures, but we have to tell them how to use those measures and how to change the measures. And that's what I'm trying to teach. How do I move the needle for that client? Not just tell them how bad it was, right? I mean, that's traditional compliance work that we did. I mean, that's what I did for 15 years in tax. Here's how much you owe. Bye. and I hope you can pay for it, right? And it always felt bad to me, 'cause especially if somebody owed and I knew they didn't have cash.
Yeah.
What were they going to do? And I didn't know how to help them. And so advisory is listening, asking different questions to figure out what the client wants to do, and then aligning everything they do in support of that and showing how to get their teams to do the right things and different things. But it's also primarily starts with educating a client about what the heck it is we're talking about most of the time,
Hmm.
which is how I really got kind of into the advisory. Is I found a technology that was an interactive dashboard, and I started selling it to CPAs, and people would either buy it on the spot if they were seat of the pants kind of people who would just take something and mess with it, or they'd buy it and never use it, or they wouldn't buy it because they knew they didn't know what to do with it, how to talk about metrics and how to change results and all that stuff. So I went looking for tools that would teach them that so that I could sell the software, and then realized that the software company was not going to invest in the training. And so then that led me into other paths. But that's how I got to the wine industry, is through my advisory training that I had gone through and ended up teaching different aspects of over the years. And so it's a blast for me to be able to do it with wineries and also to be able to teach other people how to do it. But the missing link, Amanda, as you said, is you could tell me all day long that I need to, but what the heck are you talking about and how? Nobody has the how, and they're vendor specific components of advisory.
Yeah.
Here's a tool and here's how to use it. But what do I say to the client when I tell them they need to increase collection experience so their AR days go up, and they go, how do I do that? What do I do? Go, timeout, I don't know. And that's the stuff that we aren't comfortable even talking about because we don't have the tools to help them. And so I'm trying to fix that, because now I do, and it's fun. I can go, okay,
Don't
let's
you
look at
feel
this.
like we're selling ourselves short? Like every Joe Blow on the internet, on Instagram and TikTok is willing to be a business coach.
Oh
But we
yeah, my gosh.
people
Oh my
professionals
gosh.
are like, well, maybe I don't know enough. You know, like we've been through most of us
We
5 years of
undervalue.
business.
That's one of the things about, I think, is uniquely somehow tied to our profession, that we undervalue our own worth because we've been beaten down to say we're bad communicators, which
Yeah.
in our minds means we're bad people and we're boring and we look at our shoes. I mean, and bookkeepers, to me, accountants are people who work with numbers. And it doesn't matter what label or what credential you put after your name, you're doing the same thing. And to me, the bookkeeping community, the transactional focused or client accounting services or whatever we want to call it, are the critical piece, because they're in there with the client, seeing the pain and the fires that need to be put out. And they have the lowest amount of, I think, confidence in what they're doing and are giving stuff away, and they're doing tremendous work. So, one of the things that I've really enjoyed lately is finding more bookkeepers who are coming into the advisory path, and these folks are doing it. They're not just getting trained and then talking about it. They're out there actively applying it, and it just makes me so happy. And there are CPAs like Jennifer Todd, who I see on LinkedIn, who's actually changed her whole practice to deliver advisory. I mean, it's not to say that CPAs can't, but I mean, I expected CPAs to get it, and they do theoretically, but they make up excuses to not do the work. And the bookkeepers are so driven by their client needs that they actually take up a tool and will try it. So it's encouraging to me, and I think the bookkeeping community is doing great things, and I think pushing the whole accounting profession forward, which is really fun.
I
Um,
agree.
yeah, and I think we're lucky to be part of this time. So what have you seen from your own experience with clients? How's advisory different, or what does it feel like when you're out there doing advisory? An example of how you would advise a client.
Yeah. So, like I said, it can be a lot of different things. I think you make an excellent point that like we have to ask them what they want, what they
We
where
just
they're going.
assume,
Yeah.
yeah,
We assume either we got to
profitability.
profitability, low tax liability. Like we make these
Yeah,
assumptions and scale, 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 which drives me
yeah,
crazy.
and grow. Yeah, grow revenue, grow top line revenue.
And
Yeah,
maybe that's not what they want. So it's like, first of all, let's figure out where they want to be, right? And then what are the levers that you can pull to start to get them there. Now, I will say one thing that's changed. I've been a CPA for a bunch of years, 20
yeah.
something years.
Yeah, you beat there. 40 years, Amanda.
That doesn't seem right.
1981, I started at Deloitte.
That's crazy. I was at Deloitte. That was my first.
1980, 82, actually. I graduated in December of 81. But yeah.
So I mean, one thing that's changed over the years is it's easy to get the data now, right? Like if
It
you have
should be.
should be easy. You
It's
have
still not as easy as it should be.
a good cloud-based GL that's kept up. Like you
Yeah.
can, there's the tools are so sexy. I mean, you can just put cool stuff on top and get these beautiful dashboards, like you mentioned, dashboards or
Yeah.
analytics reports. And
Yeah.
um,
We've got Fathom, we've got Drive,
we're
um,
looking at Sift right
we've
now.
got
I mean, there's
Sift, which
so
does
many.
really cool stuff. I'm really liking Sift and what they're doing also.
Yep. So there are lots of neat ways that you can just like push button and get everything you need. Like you don't have to sit there and create Excel charts anymore.
Well,
And
I mean, just think about the backup and restore we used to do with desktop software. I mean, QuickBooks Desktop, we used to go through, here's the flash drive, we had to back up and restore, we had to get the password and we had to do all this crap. And now we have our own access to online applications and we can just go get what we need.
I'm rolling my eyes a little bit because how many times do you ever tell clients they need to go make journal entries at the end of the year and then you go in the next year and they never made
Oh,
them?
every time. I don't think any client ever made a journal entry that we told them to make. And we never used the accountant's copy thing that was supposed to put the journal entries in automatically because that made things even worse. Because then it would lock stuff and there was all kinds of stuff. But yeah,
So
I mean,
Jim's
it's a
days is
problem.
over, and now you can just go
Yeah.
do it in cloud software and fix it. So
Well, some of
yep,
us still have the independence thing and we don't want to make the journal entries for the client. And there's still some of that in the CPA side, which the bookkeepers don't have to fool with any of that
correct.
restriction or regulation. They don't have to worry about the marketing. They don't have to do any letters over anything they do. So they can do all kinds of things without questioning whether it's a violation of some rule or the
Yeah.
other. So they have a lot more freedom than we do. They also have, I think, more interest in making an impact than many of us. I don't think CPAs, and I don't want to put everybody in a big bucket, but I mean, in my own practice, when I was in a firm doing traditional service, I'm only doing advisory now in this firm. So I'm part of a firm that's just amazing, and I get to have fun too, Amanda. And it's a great group of people, and it's just an amazing industry to be part of. I forgot what I was going to say now.
About
Gosh.
you started talking about desktop, and then
Oh, the desktop thing. I have no idea. It's completely
oh,
gone. Okay.
CPAs who think they can't do
Oh,
advisory.
CPAs who want to make a difference, but have so much compliance stuff. Thank you, Amanda. So much compliance stuff piled up on their desk, they can't do it. I mean, the biggest excuse we get from CPAs is, "I'm too busy." Well, are you happy? No. Are you
Right.
making enough money? No. Well, I'm too busy. Well, what's wrong with that picture? And Dr. Phil would say, "How's that working for you? If you're
Mhm.
burning yourself out, you're not making enough money and you don't like what you do, find something else. If you're happy, then do more of it. If you love what you're doing, then fantastic." Oh, my throat keeps doing weird things. Then fantastic. So you don't need to move to advisory unless you want to look for something else, or unless you feel like you're not doing what you're meant to be, or you see an opportunity to make a bigger difference. So, I mean, it's not right for everybody, but for those people who are looking for something else, it's an opportunity that we need to take advantage of and start wherever you want to. But eventually, but for me, the benefit of doing advisory is that getting that client headed in the right direction towards whatever they're trying to achieve. And as you said, I mean, there are things that we think every client should do. Profitability and positive cash flow are what accountants come in trying to help clients do. And there are clients in my industry that don't care about either one of those two things.
Yeah.
So what they care about is the long-term equity growth of that business or sustainable value or passing it on to their kids. And, short-term profit doesn't necessarily get me there. It's nice and it's part of what I got to do, but I've also got to look at other things outside of that. And so for me to sit down and start working on profitability, it's crazy. I'm not adding additional value to my service if I don't know what they care about. So it's critical. So what do you hear from other accountants about advisory? What are they saying? What are the people that we gather in those groups saying about advisory, and how are they delivering it, and how's that working for them?
Well, I mean, I think in our shared peer group, I think those
Yeah.
folks get it, right? They are cutting edge and they understand it, and how to do it at a high level, over and over again. But that's totally different than what I'm feeling when I go out in the
Yes.
industry, where there's complete overwhelm. Like to your point, there's this martyrdom uh,
Yeah. We're yeah.
manifest where it's like suffering, suffering, suffering. I could
Yeah.
never do that because I have tax season, and so that's totally different. I
Yeah.
think I think where it gets unlocked is, and this is what we did at Paget, was saying like, what is the product that you're going to offer, and how are you going to do it? What tools are you going to use, and what are you going to charge for it? And starting, in one small thing. Maybe it's cash flow forecasting if that's a need that you see
Yeah.
among your clients. Maybe it is um, goal based, metric based goal setting. Whatever the thing is, not trying to go in and do advisory for the sake of being able to say you do advisory, because it's so nebulous. It's like a jellyfish. Like, what is this advisory thing? It's slipping out of your arm from the other end because people are yelling at you. But being able to put some gates around it and say, I'm going to do this one thing. I mean, I think that's what the industry needs, because what I'm hearing is people are overwhelmed and don't know where to start.
So clearly, that's what I'm out to change. And we start with basic level 1 tools, which are stuff we know how to do. Just as basic as, does your chart of accounts help you get managerial insights? So you pull out a document, we have a checklist. So what this toolkit that I work with is a checklist. Here's a thing, ask this question, here's what you do. This is what accountants need. And even the ones, Amanda, in our circles are looking for a more structured way to do advisory, because we have a lot of geniuses in there, not counting me. You have a lot of people who are entrepreneurial mavericks who have figured out stuff on their own and who do things on the fly with comfort. They're competent, right? And their experience, which you can get to that and you could be successful if you have enough experience. But the problem is, how do I leverage that to a team that doesn't have my level of expertise and experience or confidence even? And so what we do for those people is to help the whole organization move up, is provide a system that they can work in. And they need checklists and guidance and education. And so that's the gap I'm trying to fill. Let's get everybody comfortable enough so that we can start talking to those clients in a different way. And our stuff, I mean, it starts with, let's just ask questions we haven't asked before, like that. Like, what are you trying to do? What's your goal? What's your end in mind? What do you want to see on the finance side? But what do you care about on the customer side, operations, people, and then this bigger goal of whatever the exit strategy or end in mind is? And then we can start picking off little things like cash flow, which is a huge thing for people. The problem, though, with what I see is, you can do a forecast and a projection and you can look at all the different components of cash flow. But when it comes down to fixing it, it's a process problem. And then I've got to get into the process mapping, and I got to get my customers to get their teams together to figure out why the heck it's taken so long for us to get paid and which piece of this process is broken so that I can improve the AR days. So the financial metric is the indicator, but all the stuff under it is where it starts to get messy for us accountants, because now I got to deal with people and they're scary, aren't they, Amanda?
Yeah,
Especially, yeah, I've got teams and I've got people who aren't accountants who don't understand necessarily anything beyond the one job they're doing. And so helping them figure out how to fix all of that is where we can add real value, because we're good at asking questions and analyzing information to organize it in a way that we can make sense of it, hopefully. But it's that toolkit that I think a lot of people are looking for.
Yep.
And the vendors are starting with, again, a product specific approach, which is great. I mean, start wherever you need to, but eventually you're going to have to get in a little bit deeper, and then you're not going to know where to turn. And that's where I'm trying to shore people up so that they have the confidence they need to get out and do this stuff. And it's fun. I mean, it's really fun to see people. I mean, I have people come in who are billing, and I ask them on the intake form, what do you bill in a month? And I mean, or billing per client or per hour. What's your billing rate? I mean, I'm getting $50 an hour. There are people who were going up, who were going to fixed fee, who were increasing the value after a couple of sessions. They realized, oh, I've been giving all this stuff away. Think how much work we used to do in the olden days to even figure out how to propose on a client. How much, I mean, if just to take somebody's stuff and go, give me your login and let me look through here and figure out what you're doing, and then I'll quote you a price. Well, we're doing work. we're giving them insight. I mean, I'm going in and looking at all the stuff and making recommendations. And so I'm writing that up and billing for that before I even set up the fee. But we have people who are giving that stuff away. And
Mhm.
there are lots of things we've done historically like that, that hopefully people are getting smart enough to stop doing, because there's value in the inquiry that we do and the documentation. And
Yep.
then what I do is, if and then I'll give you a fixed fee. And if I'm not right, you still get something that you can then go to find somebody else to do the bookkeeping. So I didn't mention that I had a bookkeeping business that I closed this year because I couldn't find staff. And I didn't want to deal with it anymore, trying to find staff and just managing it. And I had but it was a great exercise for me. And we started in 2014 because I wanted to see, why the heck is it so complicated for wineries to get the bookkeeping done right? And I realized a lot about, first of all, the standards among bookkeeping are very different. Some people can just do it without any training and start doing it one way for one client and do it that way for everybody else, and the clients don't know the difference.
Yep.
So I think the standards for that, but the technology is so good now. If we leverage it correctly, we can do great work for those clients. So what about I want to hear about your personal life just for a second.
Oh,
We
good
talked
grief.
about all this other stuff. I want to hear about the hiking.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell everybody about your unique hiking
So
hobby.
I I discovered that I loved backpacking in 2020. And it's kind of taken over my life a little bit. I mean, I have two kids, by the way. I do have two
You have
kids.
two
I don't
kids and you have how many jobs?
a bunch of jobs and a dog,
Yeah,
but really, I love backpacking most.
yeah,
Um,
most. I
that's
heard
what
that.
spends most of my effort thinking about. I'm always either
Yeah.
planning a trip or whatever. I have been working on chipping away at the Appalachian Trail, which goes
I'm so
from
jealous, which
Georgia
is
to
great.
Maine.
Yeah.
I've done about maybe 300 miles of it, which sounds like a lot of miles, but there's like 2,200 miles of it total. So
Wow.
a little over 10%. Yeah, so that's kind of my thing. And right now is the off season. Can't really hike too much in the
In the
winter.
rain and
Yeah.
snow.
But
So how do you fit that into your life? So let's talk about work-life balance. Two kids, bunch of different things going on.
yeah,
How do you keep it all going?
going just where I can. I mean, pack in what I can. I attach extra days on business trips if I can, on either end, and stay for the weekend and just figure it out. I mean, it's not something I'm willing to give up on, right? So I mean, I have to work. I love to work.
Yeah.
But I'm not willing to give up on I'm not willing to wait. I feel I just fit it in when I can.
When you have a passion for something, you do that, which I think is true of all your other businesses. Like me, it's like I had three businesses going, and I picked up Impactful Advisor because I was like, this has to happen. People are coming to me. So I was speaking about advisory. People are coming to me wanting support, and I didn't have the resource. I didn't have revenues or anything associated with it. I was talking about it and driving people to Mentor Plus,
Hmm.
and it was all online training. And so people kept wanting me to support them or coaching or groups to be performed around it. And so finally I went, I'm either going to stop doing this or I'm going to commit to helping people actually implement it. And so I got the rights to the training, and now I coach around the online training materials that I have and that I use. And it's been really fun to be able to interact with people around these tools.
Well, if
And
anybody would like me to coach them on backpacking, I'm totally willing to do
yeah,
that.
I would love to. I would like you to coach me
Want
on
to go
just
out on their own. Don't let people tell you you can't go backpacking by yourself as a single woman.
I would like you to coach me on how to just pack so that I don't have to take the hugest suitcase in the world to go anywhere. So we'll have to do that as a side coaching arrangement. So that's great. Okay, what else do you want folks to know? What if people are trying to do advisory and don't know how to do it? What should they do? How do they
Well,
make room for it? How do you get people to stop? So you have people at Paget, their tax practices, they're busy as all get out. How do you make them stop and do something else?
I mean, we've done that before when
Well, tell us
all
how
the
you do it.
COVID stuff, came out. I mean, it was tax season when COVID hit, right?
Yeah, well, it's
And
March.
we started to have these credits and all these bills that came through. And Roger Harris, who's our president, told our franchisee base, like, stop doing tax returns, go get your clients this money. They're entitled to it. They need it.
They're
You want
dying
them
if
to be
they don't
around,
have this
right?
money. Yeah.
The tax return can wait. So we did that, and we've cleared, we collected tens of millions of dollars in credits for our clients. So it's important, but it's not just important when there's a crisis. It's important all the time. And I get that it's tough. I mean, I did taxes for a long time. I get that it's tough, but it's also sometimes becomes an easy excuse. And we let tax season run now. We let
Our
it 6
lives,
months of the year, 7 months of the year.
9 months of the year, 12
Yeah,
months of the year
yeah.
in my case. Yeah.
So I know it's baby steps, but it's about um, delegating where you can, and automating where you can, and getting out of your own way, and stop being a bottleneck in your own firm, and pull back and start running your business like a business, not as a charity. Like, run it from the top, and not try not to be the product of your business. So I know those are all I know that there are probably people listening saying, Amanda, clearly you don't know what you're talking about because it's so hard, but it has to happen, or you're going to end up at the end of your career with a firm that has no value because you're the product. You
Yeah.
haven't created something, you haven't helped as many clients as you could. So that's a lot of what we do at Paget, is to help firm owners build their dream practices, whatever is important to
Yeah.
them. So we
Yeah.
do a lot of that on the back end.
It's the same kind of thing that we should do for ourselves, right? What are we trying to do this for? What are we building to? What are we trying to accomplish? And it may not be the same thing. Like I've heard some of my friends and peers in accounting salons say, the last thing I want to do is advisory. And I said, why? Because it requires a personal connection. And I want to have an automated practice that runs without my engagement. Well, that's entirely possible. If that's what you want to do, go for it. And I have a lot of respect for those folks. But for me, the whole reason I'm doing this is so I can make a difference for people. And I think it needs more than just a great automated solution and just getting the books right. It needs some interaction, some communication, some hand holding, and and therapy for some of those clients. And that's the part that I really enjoy. But yeah, there are ways to do just to outsource it all, and you can do a couple of reviews and really amp up your practice. And if that's what you want to have, then do it.
Yeah,
And
I mean, again, the technology is so good right now.
yeah, it
You can get
is.
to a good, clean general ledger, and then pull data out on dashboards so fast. I mean, this
Yeah.
was not a, this was, if you remember back when we were starting our careers, like, you
Yeah.
could not do this.
You
This
couldn't
was
get
not,
data from anything.
and this was not available to small businesses because it
That's
was too
right.
expensive. You
We
could
had
never have done this for small
the
businesses.
first dashboard. So I have most of the wineries in Napa are small business clients. And when I first got here, it was 2007. And I went in search of dashboard tools. And the only tool I could find was a product called Tableau, which is still out there. And you had to spend 25 grand just to get a single license for it. And it had the ability to pull data from other applications and create visual imagery from it,
Yeah.
that visualize the data, which is what we're all trying to do. Now you could do Power BI for $12 a month. And
Yep.
we're still not doing it. I mean,
Right.
accountants are not doing it. And that's where the clients want to be. I'm spending a lot of time in those tools and helping find industry specific tools that we can overlay on the point of sale systems and things like that to bring numbers to visuals, because I got salespeople managing numbers. They don't want a spreadsheet and a bunch of rows and columns.
Right.
They want to see it on a map or on some kind of
Right.
a cool chart or
Red,
yeah,
green, yellow, bad, good,
yeah,
medium.
something in a way. Nobody really wants to see it in rows and columns except us, so we can mess with it in Excel. But we still aren't taking advantage of those tools because we don't know what to say. And that's the shame to me, because I can help you figure it out, or there are other people. If it's not from my training, go find something that makes you comfortable enough to help those clients get where they need to go, because we're getting ready to head into another storm, according to everybody.
Yeah. What do you think about that? What's your gut on this for 2023?
Recessions are created by people thinking there's going to be a recession, right? I mean, that's how we created the stock market crash. And I think there's opportunity for everybody. And I think we've been a little overly fortunate in the past. And I think now we're going to have to prove our worth. I think we're going to have to deliver the value that we've been able to get away with substandard service, I think. I think it's time, finally, people are starting to wake up to what's possible. I mean, I'm having clients that I'm working with that are bookkeepers say, I had a potential prospect call and say the other accountant they talked to was showing them Fathom, which is a digital dashboard. And I said, well, yeah, because I'm teaching everybody to use Fathom. They need to use it and put it on. But that's in the marketplace now. So that's going to be the minimum expectation. Clients are getting smarter about what is possible from their accountant. And so we're going to have to elevate the service level that we provide. We've
Yeah.
been very lax in what we've been delivering in the past, and our responsiveness and communication and all those things are going to have to step up.
Yeah.
I think so
Yeah,
too.
I agree with you, but there are probably people listening that are saying, I can't offer better service. I'm too busy.
Well, raise your prices, get rid of half your clients, and then there you go. That's what you do,
That's
right?
the
Sounds
dark secret,
easy.
right? That's the dark secret is like, well, if you didn't have the crappy clients that aren't paying you what they should be paying you, you probably would have capacity.
It ain't a secret, but it's hard because we have this psychological attachment to, it's always the worst clients, right, Amanda? We took the ones that we felt sorry for. They couldn't afford us, so we cut the price. And then they just took us for all we were worth. They worked us. They never gave us stuff. They didn't listen to what we said. And we can't heal everybody.
Yeah.
So one of our challenges is to just be willing to say, I can't help you and go on, move on, or it's not worth it for me. And we just have to come up with the value of our own worth. And I won't take anything that's below X dollar amount and then turn people away, and then we'll have room to do the stuff that we really want to do. And also we deliver better work that way, right? Those clients that you hate to talk to, they're not getting great service.
And they're probably the ones that aren't paying you enough.
They're the exact same clients. They're always the ones, and they don't listen to what you say. And those are the ones not putting your journal entries in, Amanda, and all that stuff. So we know it, but it's just really hard for us to let somebody go, especially when they need us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And also, I mean, we see dollars. We're like, well, those are more dollars coming into my practice. I don't want to give up dollars coming into my
Yeah.
practice. But you're giving like emotional dollars by holding on to them.
That's right. I like that. Emotional dollars. And at what cost? Are you getting where you want to be on the revenue side? No. Well, it's because you're busy doing the crappy stuff. And we can intellectually talk about it all day, but it's a tough thing for us to do as a profession. We have people and we don't want to let them loose because we don't think they can be taken care of without us. It's almost egotistical.
Yeah. Yeah.
We think they need us because we can help them better than the next person. Okay, I'm going to go into a quick thing about my advisory. If you want to take my advisory, and again, there are other people doing a bunch of stuff, take what you need. I have an info session I'm doing on February 8th at 9 a.m. where I'm just going to talk about what it is, what my particular brand is in more detail. It's February 8th at 9 Pacific, and there's a link, and we'll post it in the chat. So if you want to go learn more about that. So what I have is a methodology created by my friend Edie Osborne. We took it online in 2018, and I acquired the rights to the online training during COVID. And now I put a wrapper around it. So you can either take it just online, or you can take it online and join me for a public webinar once a month, or you can come through a cohort where I walk you through all the materials. This one I'm launching in February is going to be a specially designed for bookkeepers, where I take you through the first 3 levels with me, and then you can decide if you want to go beyond that, because we get into more advanced stuff in level 4, and I wanted to get the price down and get the time commitment down for bookkeepers. So join me on February 8th to learn more about that if you're interested. Amanda, is there something you want to promote?
Well, if you are out there as a bookkeeper or accountant and thinking about either starting your own practice or ready to get some help in building your practice, Padgett's a great opportunity. You can go to PadgettAdvisors.com and learn more about how we can support you in building your own dream practice.
Fantastic. So have a network of, and you guys do all kinds of stuff, Amanda. Say more about what I get if I join your organization.
Yeah. So, we have amazing support, especially in tax. We have a lot of tax support.
So you mean I could call somebody at Padgett and get answers to my Section 179 question if I'm a member of the group?
Yes, ma'am.
So you have your own technical team, okay?
We have our own technical support team. We have our own marketing team.
Who can provide marketing support.
Marketing for our franchisees. You've got, on my side, training and resources and processes and vetting of technology for you. We negotiate discounts. They're really good because I'm kind of a hard negotiator. I was going to say a bad word, but I wasn't going to. Not on LinkedIn. So we have a lot of resources for really supporting our franchisees, and beyond that too, it's a great community. I know as a practice owner, by myself, sole practitioner, sometimes I felt
Yeah.
like I didn't have anybody to call. I didn't know who to ask these
Yeah.
questions to bounce things off of. So it's a great place to land when you need somebody that's in the same shoes as you.
Yeah. It's great. It's a great thing. A great thing. So this is just what the training looks like inside. It's modular based. You go through, you can download all the materials. You can watch videos and tutorials related to the documents. There's conceptual training, and then there's here's what you do. Take this and go do this with the client. It's really how to do it. Hands on, everything you need from the first level to the fifth level. And really, from the client's perspective, it's about taking quality information, which we are used to providing accurate information, and turning it into quality insights that then help us project what we're going to do going forward. And it's really actionable insights that we're trying to create. And much of that involves just first asking questions that we haven't asked before and applying our native abilities in a slightly different way. And the rewards are tremendous, both from a personal perspective and from a financial perspective. It's how you get somebody during a tough time like the recession to pay for your services, because you have to deliver more than just a piece of paper that they don't understand, whether it's a tax return or a financial statement that has very little value to an owner who's trying to figure out what to do tomorrow. Would you agree with that, Amanda?
I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah. Tell me how to fix it. Don't just tell me how bad it is. What can I do? How can we get out of this hole? Where are opportunities for me? I mean, even with just technology, like there are tools that will advance you funds just based on a connection to your accounting software. There are, dashboards, there are cash flow capable tools. There are all kinds of things that we didn't have access to before. And as an accountant, it's your job to make your clients aware of all the cool things that are available to help them run that business in the way that they're trying to run it. So with that, I'm going to let you go, Amanda. So Amanda, I didn't have you say where you're based, where you're from.
Well,
You say it?
I'm
You said,
from, okay, so I'll sit in New Orleans. It
yep.
is New Orleans. It is not New Orleans. It is not New Orleans. It is New Orleans. Um, it's where
Yeah.
I sit. I grew up about 2 hours west of here in Lafayette, which is center of Cajun country. So I'm a good Cajun girl. Lived close to the Gulf of, practically in the Gulf of Mexico for all of my life.
Yeah. She's got a great accent. Knows good food when she sees it. Knows how to eat grits right without sugar.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
bonded on all of that stuff before we barely even knew each other. And with that, I say thank you so very much, Amanda, for all the great work you're doing. Everything cool and amazing to move the profession forward, to move people forward, and to help more clients get the kind of support they need from the accounting profession. So thank you. It's always a pleasure and honor to be here with you. You're the best. Thank you for sharing your time with us.
I love hanging out with you. I feel so lucky I get to be your friend. I've admired you for a long time because of all the great things you've done for the industry.
Oh, wait, I got to show your book.
Oh,
Amanda wrote a book on Zero. It is the definitive. This is a guide, y'all. This is everything you need to know about Zero, and it's Zero with an X. Um, Small business accounting software. So check it out.
thank you.
It's on Amazon, Amanda.
Yes, ma'am.
All
Yes, ma'am.
right. A great guide for a mere $45. Make you an expert in Zero. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. With that, we say goodbye. Have a great day and a great rest of your week. And take care, Amanda. And thank you. Thank you.
Everybody
Thank you.
later.
All right. Bye bye.